One thing that I'll never get used to is waking up in the pitch dark. I definitely miss having a window. It's nice at night when it's really dark, but in the morning it just makes it like impossible to want to wake up. And then every light in the cabin flickers before it turns on, so you get like a mini stroke every morning. Also, what is my hair? So we do have a show tonight. God, I just did. Oh my god, I'm making it worse. Okay, what I was trying to say is that today is a show day, and I'm not planning on getting off the ship. We are in Kotor, Montenegro, and it's a tender port, so it's just a little bit more effort to get off, to be completely honest. I'm just gonna go sit on back deck and enjoy the views before I have rehearsal a little bit later today.
Not surprisingly, I think the best part about working on ships is the travel that you get to do. I have visited over 70 countries while working on cruise ships, and if I didn't work on ships, I don't know where I'd be right now. Like, I probably maybe have only been to like Mexico, Canada, one or two other places. I'm so grateful for all of the amazing places that ships have brought me. So my first contract was a world cruise, so I saw like 30 countries in one contract, which was just insane. Obviously, it's a little different than if you were to be traveling on your own somewhere. You only have one day in a place unless your contract goes back there multiple times, which a lot of contracts do that. We've been in Europe for the past 6 months and we've been on like a rotation of the itinerary. So we've been able to go back to a couple places and see more and more each time. But if your contract doesn't do that, then you're seeing each place one time for a couple hours at a time. It's not usually enough to really get to know a place. But it's also nice because then you can see like, oh, I actually really liked it for those couple hours I was there. And then you know where you want to go back to in the future and maybe take a vacation there. But yeah, I am so grateful for all of the cool places that ships have brought me. Montenegro definitely being one of them. It is so stunning here. And even when I'm done with ships, I will continue to keep traveling and go back to these places that I got a couple hours in, while I was on contract. And as a performer, we have work at night mostly, so we'll have a lot of time during the day to explore the ports. Yeah, I am forever grateful for all of the places that I've gotten to see while working on ships.
Along with the travel, working on ships allows you to meet so many people from all around the world, both on and off the ship. There are over 60 different nationalities on my current ship, and so it's really interesting to talk to people about their life back home. I made a lot of really amazing friends while working on ships, but the worst part is that you are constantly saying goodbye. People are coming and going, and more likely than not, you won't see a lot of people again because you're usually from all different parts of the world. But it's important to make friends and find people you can trust because you're away from home for so long, so you need to find those people who you can lean on when things get tough.
I was honestly just thinking about how weird it is that we live, eat, sleep, drink, work, play, all in one place. It kind of makes for a really weird experience. You can never really escape. You're kind of always being watched, There's a lot of rules that you have to follow. We, have safety duties, and so you can never be super drunk because you have to be ready for any sort of safety emergency that could happen. Whenever you leave your cabin, you are gonna see people, So you can't leave your cabin in your pajamas to go make a coffee in the mess. You have to look presentable in some capacity just before you leave your cabin. And so it's just kind of a lot. Everyone knows where you are at all times. It sounds kind of weird, but it's true. If you want to have a sick day, you can't really fake it. It's not like on normal land where you're like, oh, I might not even be sick, but I need a sick day. Let me just call in and say that I don't feel well. Well, no, you're going to go to medical and you're going to make sure that you actually don't feel well. I don't know if I'm explaining it right. It's just like everything that you do all happens in one place. And after 6 to 8 months, it can get a little bit old. Even with all of the rules and everything that goes on, I get to perform every day, and so that kind of helps you know, offset the rules and everything that I have to deal with outside of the job. Being a performer on ships is honestly such a different lifestyle than if you were a performer on land. You are grinding every single day to get a job. Oftentimes the job that you do get is only for, you know, a summer or a couple weeks run. But on ships, you know, you get these contracts that are between 6 and 8 months. So as a performer, it's one of the more consistent jobs. You can feel comfortable for more of an extended period of time. Obviously, there are longer contracts on land, but I'm just saying that in general, ships is more of like a stable job for a little while. Though it is just like anything else, you do have to re-audition every time you want another job. But that's just kind of like a con of being a performer in general. You get to perform for a while, everything is great, and then your job ends, and then it's back to the grind. All right, we are almost ready for the show tonight. I didn't realize it is our 100th show tonight. That feels insane to say. We've been here for April, May, June, 7 months. We still have 2 left, which is kind of insane, but let's go do our 100th show. 100 show. 100 show. 100 show. Sorry.
Good morning. Today we have a drill, which is always thrilling. I have my life jacket on for absolutely no reason. I just thought it would add a little flair to this video. But I thought I would do like a rapid fire worst part of ships moment, and I thought what better time than during a drill, because drills are probably my least favorite part of the job, which I will get into. But for me, honestly, the pros outweigh the cons. Getting to perform, travel, all those good things. There are cons with any job, and of course living on a cruise ship adds like a whole nother level of just craziness. But yeah, let's rapid fire some of my least favorite parts about working on ships. I'm gonna take this off. Okay, number 1, we're gonna start off with the mess. Yes, it's free, which is great, but I won't lie, it does get a little bit old. The food is on a rotation, and so you are getting basically the same thing every single week. And if you love to cook, which I do, I miss cooking so much and just like making fun things for myself. So that's just a little bit of a downfall. Number 2 is missing your family. Like going 8 to 9 months without seeing your friends and family, it's really hard. And then a lot can just like change in 7 months while you're gone. You know, I left and a bunch of people I know are getting pregnant, some are engaged, and you know, you miss those big moments. And honestly, don't even get me started on the holidays, because I'm missing Christmas this year and I feel very depressed about it. Number 3 is small spaces. Though I have gotten used to living in a small space, it's not ideal. Shaving my legs in this tiny shower is honestly like an Olympic sport. I gotta like put my leg up on the wall, and the shower curtain like clings to you in all the wrong places, and so yeah, I will never get used to the shower. And I actually had someone ask me if I actually use the bathroom while my boyfriend is in the room, because we share a room, if you guys didn't know. And the answer is yes, of course. If you really want to get to know someone, spend 8 months with them in a tiny cruise ship cabin. Okay, the next one is everything is kind of heightened. It feels like life is being like fast-tracked when you work on ships. Everything is so in a bubble. You meet someone for the first time, and like I said earlier, you know, you're working, sleeping, eating, just living, everything all in one space. You might spend a week with someone on the ship and spend more time with them in that week than you spend with a friend on land in a whole month. You know, you're seeing these people constantly. Things are just moving a lot quicker also. You know, people often jump into relationships really quickly. One funny thing that I heard on my first contract is ship goggles. With access to only a certain amount of people, you sometimes get these ship goggles on, and someone who you maybe would never consider dating out in the real world, you're like really attracted to them here on board. So yeah, everything is just a little different than it is on land. Also, I don't know why I'm using my hands so much to talk, but I'm really trying to convey my point, I guess. Okay, the next thing is gonna be laundry. The machines are always broken. and that makes it really hard to do your laundry. Also, people are constantly moving your stuff. If you're not in there before the dryer ends, you can bet that somebody already moved your stuff out of the dryer. Obviously, if you live in like a dorm or a big city like New York, you're used to, you know, sharing laundry machines, going to a laundromat or whatever. So it's really not the worst thing in the world, but it just can be kind of a hassle. Number 6. The biggest con of working on a cruise ship is gonna sound contradictory, but it's that you're not on land. There are so many things about living on land that I miss. I want to drive to Target and then Home Goods, and then I want to be able to go get lunch, and I want to just have a whole day. You know, honestly, this isn't really like a con of working on ships. It's just something that I personally miss while I'm away from home more than anything. And I miss being on land at night. This contract, we've had no overnights. Occasionally your ship will do overnights where you'll stay overnight in a port, and then you'll get the opportunity to experience that place in the evening. But, you know, we leave at like 5 or 6 for most of these places, so I haven't been on land at night in 7 months. And for me, I love going to dinner. I love going to a cocktail bar. I just miss it. I miss being on land at night. And then number 7, the last one, is going to be all of the drills and safety duties that you have on board. I know that drills are very important, and I do take them very seriously. Like, I'm not trying to die in an emergency, but the drills themselves are just a little bit boring, to be completely honest. My emergency duty deals with the guests and getting the guests into the lifeboat. During a drill, there's no guests there, so we're kind of just standing around and chilling. All of these little, you know, complaints or cons to working on cruise ships are tiny little things, and I hope that nobody's actually taking me too seriously. I'm not just sitting here trying to complain. I'm just being honest of like, yeah, these are the pros and these are the cons of working on ships, but I actually do have to go to drill, so I will see you guys a little bit later. So today is a sea day. I am just getting back from an entertainment talk that we do. That's why I'm like wearing a blazer randomly. And then I grabbed a coffee from the guest coffee bar. You do have to pay for these coffees. I think that they're 20% off, and then they're pretty discounted in the crew coffee bar. I think it's like $2.50 for a latte, so not too bad. I think probably behind travel and performing, the next best part about working on ships is that our expenses are really low. If you wanted to, you could probably save like the majority of your paycheck. Obviously there are things like toiletries or sending money back home, or rent if you have a place back home that you're still paying for, student loans, you know, everyone's situation is different. But if you are lucky and maybe you don't have any expenses back home, you're just out of school and you're coming onto a ship, you can save a lot of money. Because on board we really have no expenses. We don't pay for our room, we don't pay like utilities, so we don't pay for electric, water, things like that. Oh, and the food is free. That's probably the biggest perk. Maybe, you know, in some people's eyes, yeah, the food does get old, you miss cooking for yourself, whatever it is, but at the end of the day, it's free and you can save a lot of money by not spending money on food. I wish I could say I saved a lot of money because of the free food, but we have been in Europe this whole season and I love getting off the ship and trying new foods and going to the different restaurants. So I will say most of my paycheck probably does go toward food, even though I can get it for free on board. I'm a big foodie, so I do think it depends on your itinerary. Some itineraries lend itself to spending a little bit more money. And like I said, it depends on the person. Everyone's situation is different. I don't have a family back home that I'm sending money to, whereas a lot of crew members do. So, you know, my money is probably spent quite differently than someone who's here sending money back home to their wife and children. So take that with what you will, because everyone's situation is different, but this is just how I spend my money.
At the end of the day, working on cruise ships isn't for everybody. You miss home, the work can be exhausting, and not to mention you live on a giant hunk of metal in the middle of the ocean. Like any other job, there are pros and cons, but for me, being a performer on cruise ships has been a dream. Seeing the world and getting to perform outweighs all of the other crazy things that might come up. I do want to reiterate that this is just my experience, and crew members working in other departments might not feel the same way, but I can only share what I know and my personal experience. I know I won't be able to do this job forever, so I want to take it all in while I can and make the most of it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.